Greetings, everybody, and welcome to this week, episode 50 on Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So for those of you who are new to the channel, this week is an episode that I do every Sunday afternoon, usually around noon. I'm a little bit behind today because I had to do the AC/DC one this morning. However, usually what we do on this episode is I just talk about what content is going to be on the show for this week, what up and coming events, and what shows may be coming in the future as well. So this week we have a fairly full list. I think there's 8 shows plus a couple of announcements as well, which I'll do at the end. So I'm going to just order my CDs a bit here so that we can get them in the order they belong. So for this episode, the first show that usually comes out, other than this one that will come out tonight, is usually Ben's album challenge, but we decided to go with Ben every second week just to keep it fresh, and I've added a new show to this series of shows called Monster Hits. So what it's going to be is, Monster Hits is a show where I will choose a year, one specific year in rock history, and I will choose 5 of the top selling songs of that year, rock genre songs, not outside of that. There won't be any disco or any dance music or any of that stuff, or rap or anything like that. It'll just be rock music. So I'll take 5 songs off the bestsellers list, if you prefer, or the monster hit list, and I will rank them and talk about those songs. And that show is going to start tonight. Will be the first installment of it. And the year I've chosen to do for the initial Monster Hits show is 1969. So I'll be choosing 5 songs from that time period, and then I'll be ranking them and then discussing each of those songs. Now I realize, because having talked to Ben, I now realize fully that this is subjective at best. Some people may say, well, these songs aren't the top 5, these songs are, or it's all subjective. So I'm just choosing 5 top songs. They could be the top 5 of that year that were released chronologically and sales wise, or they could just be 5 big hits from that year. It's all very subjective, as you can imagine. Also, my ranking of those is just my own personal preference, so again, very subjective. But it's just, for me, this is just a chance to talk about those hits and why they were impactful on me and why they might be impactful on others as well. So that show will air tonight and alternate every week with Ben's album challenge, so that we have a good space time between each show, keeping it fresh. And that's the whole purpose of this. I like doing this kind of thing. It's fresher for me because I'm not doing the same thing over and over, and it's fresher for you because you don't have to see it all the time. Okay, so the next show that comes out during the week is, of course, my look back at a classic rock album. This one I do every week. Every Monday night we pick one, and this week we've chosen this album, Dream Police by Cheap Trick. It was one of the 2 that I was thinking about doing last week, but chose the other one, and then this week we're going to do this one. This is a good album, big impact for me. It wasn't my first Cheap Trick album, however it was probably the most impactful, not only on me but on a lot of people. So we'll be doing that for the look back at a classic rock album on Monday night this week. The next show up is my Wednesday night favorites, which is normally the most viewed show on the channel. I think people like a lot of this kind of ranking and top 25s and stuff like that. But this week I'm going to do, because I'm getting ready for a big one in a couple weeks, just as so much new is happening this week, I decided to take just a simple one and do that. And so I enjoyed doing the song ranking video I did a few weeks ago on Genesis' Trick of the Tail. So I'm going to do another one of those on this album by Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Another album horrific with a lot of great songs from a legendary band. So we'll be doing that one this week on our album favorites. I will be, the other show that I'm getting it together is to do I did an episode not too long ago, maybe a couple months ago, called 10 Essential Albums that every prog interest person should own. So I'm going to do a follow-up on that. This one's going to be called 10 More Progressive Rock Albums that everybody should consider listening to or owning. And I'm going to try to be a little bit different with this one, where I'm going to, instead of have just those essential albums, but by now, if a person's done the first list, they are now open to trying some different genres. So we'll be doing some progressive rock albums, but stuff that may be a little bit more space oriented, or maybe a little more folky. There might be a few in there that are a little bit more psychedelic in nature. So I'm trying to space out, for the lack of a better term, to spread out those albums to different groups. There won't be any repeat from any of the other groups. They'll all be different rock bands than we had in the first episode. I want to try and spread this out as much as I can, get people thinking about all the different subgenres of progressive rock. So that episode will come out Wednesday. The next episode on the list is a Thursday night special, which is going to be called Metal. So Metal is going to alternate with a show called, a little bit of a distraction outside the window. Is going to alternate with another show called Forward Champion. So the first one to come out will be Metal. So for those of you who've been following, and I've been building up to this, this will be the inaugural episode of this show. For those of you who don't know what it's about, I'm going to choose a metal band, listen to all the albums in their discography, and then kind of talk about that band. So we're going to alternate too there between metal bands that came out in the, from about 2010 onward, and then ones that came out prior to that, so that we're not dominated by that 70s and 80s stuff. I want to kind of keep it more fresh as well. So, and the band I've chosen to do for the inaugural episode is a band called Cellar Darlings. They have 2 albums, which I'm going to listen to, and then we'll talk about them. I decided to start small. This is my first kind of sauntering into the metal realm, as specifically metal, and so I chose a band with not too many albums, so that I can see where I want to go from there. So that will be coming out Thursday, and it will alternate with the next episode. Next week will be the Forward Champion, and I'll talk more about that next week. So then the next show that usually comes out is on Friday night, and last week we did the Friday night live experience with the Love You Live album by the Rolling Stones. This week we're doing the Psychedelic Snack with Brother Murphy. Will be hosting the show, and he's told me he's decided to do Pink Floyd's Adam Hart Mother, this album. There's a little bit of psychedelia to here. There's a lot of prog, there's a lot of pastoral music to this, but I'm sure he'll discuss why he likes it so much. And so we'll be doing that album on the Psychedelic Snack this Friday. So the next show will be the Saturday afternoon. We're going to do the album hauls for the month. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a show in which I talk about what I've purchased, or what I've been given, or what I got during the course of the month of June. I'm around 13 albums at the present time. Could be more depending on what I find out there. I got some good stuff. I went for my last kind of trip to Encore Videos this week, Encore Records, and got a couple of things I wanted to get. I may not make many trips back to there because I'm no longer in that area. So we will discuss those albums when the haul comes out, which will be Saturday. On Saturday it's going to come out. So the next show up will be the beginning. Well, it's actually going to probably come out before the album hauls. It'll come out It's my new series. I decided not to do my favorite rock bands from the 1970s. Other people are doing stuff similar to that. And I don't like piggybacking on other people's success or getting too many of the same thing. I wanted to do something different. So I decided to do this idea that I'd had for a while called great rock bands who have 2 or more lead vocalists. And so, many bands come to mind right away, but I'm going to make a list of 31 of my favorite, 2 or more lead vocalist bands. And there's quite a few of these bands, but some of them are better than others, and I really like them a lot. So we'll be doing that starting on the first day of July, which I believe is Saturday. So that's when that will come out, and I'll do my top 30. I'm probably going to have a lot more than that, but as you know, it's difficult to do 40 or 50 bands when you only got 31 slots. So somebody's going to have to sit on the wayside. It doesn't necessarily mean I don't like them. I may like them a lot, but there's only so many spots, and you're going to go with who you like the best. Okay, so that will be it for the series opener. And I want to make it clear too that it's not just going to be prog music. It will be all forms of rock music where there's double things. So it's not going to be just limited to progressive rock this time around. We're going to open it up to everybody. And I'm going to try and do it where I don't have, because there's like 3 or 4 of these bands that I really like. I don't want to have like 5 albums from each of them, because that really defeats the purpose. You want to explore as many bands as you can. So I'm going to limit it to just 2 albums per band. So you won't get one band with like 5 or 6. They'll only get 2, even though it will be tough, because there's a few bands on this list they have 3 or 4 albums I absolutely love and could easily be all 4 of them on there, but I can only choose 2, and that's what I'm going to go with. That seems to be the best way to go about this. Other people have done it that way. I think it gives more variety. I think it makes it easier for people to relate to different stuff and get to know new stuff. If you're just doing 4 or 5 bands, I don't really see the purpose to that. So that's how we're going to operate that series for this month of July. So those are the shows for the week. There may end up being a What's New. I've got a ton of What's New stuff that I just have completely ignored because I just haven't got the time and so much stuff to listen to. So I will try to do the ones I like the best for sure, and then if I get a chance, I'll do some of the others. I mean, some of them might be a couple months behind. Unfortunately, that has to be the way it is. The big ones I will try to do almost immediately after they come out, but that's just the way it is. So can't do everything, so have to do what you think is best. Okay, so for the Forward Champion, as many of you know, what this is going to be is a series that alternates with metal. That series will be basically, I will choose 2 albums on the initial episode, talk about both albums, and then the people who watch the episode can give a vote on which one they liked better. And that voting can go on for up to 2 weeks before the next episode, and just the day of the next episode I will tally up how many votes each album got, and the one that wins will become the Forward Champion and have to face a challenger. And that will go on. He cannot win more than 5 in a row, and then he'll be retired. If I get enough albums at the end of the year that have won 5 or more in a row, or five in a row, then they will go into a finals kind of grand championship thing. So yeah, just a little bit of fun here. That's all we're trying to do. And then, of course, the last thing I wanted to talk about was my Kiss tribute. Yes, we're going to do a Kiss tribute in July. Not quite sure when yet. I don't have to do as much kind of research, because this band is like the back of my hand. I know just about everything you want to know about them, and more than I want to know about them, really. This is one of my favorite of their albums. Like it a lot. We're going to do kind of what we did with AC/DC, but it's only going to be 1 episode. I'm not going to talk much about Kiss beyond the 1984 realm, when you no longer had Ace Frehley and Peter Criss. To me, Peter Criss and Ace Frehley, I know lots of bands change members and stuff like that to get different members, and for me, Kiss was basically those four guys, and maybe you could throw Eric Carr in there. The rest of them, or even Vinnie Vincent, because he had his own character as well. But after that, they just started adding people who didn't have their own character and just put faces on them, the old faces. So I don't really want to go there too much, but I want to talk about the classic era of Kiss for absolute sure, because very few bands reached the kind of impact that this band had on their initial half dozen to a dozen years of being in existence. They were number one at one point in the world, I believe, and had a huge impact on so many different people. And so it would be neglectful for me not to honor their 50th anniversary by not talking about them. I just think that they're too strong of an impact to be ignored, and had a huge impact on me. Without them, this pile of CDs, maybe rock music in general, might never have gotten off the ground. So gotta do them. So we'll be honoring Kiss on Rock Legends this month for their 50th anniversary. The other thing about this one is I'm going to try something a little different. I don't want it just to be the same as AC/DC. So AC/DC, I did a dual episodes. I just basically did the episodes. This time I'm going to try and do a live stream, one episode live stream, and I might limit it to an hour. I might go longer. It depends on the how well it's received. If it's not well received, then it won't. The time period for when I'm going to do it will be announced plenty of time in advance for those people who are interested in coming on live and talking about Kiss, which is a band that is much beloved by its fans and much hated by its non-fans. I tend to fall a little bit into both realms. I love them to death, but at the same time I'm kind of fed up with the nonsense. But anyways, they deserve to be honored. They deserve to be recognized. Same as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame figured it out after many years that this band had to be in there. Okay, so that's it for this week on the channel. Hope you can find something that you want to watch and want to see. I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you who is interested in what I'm doing here. I get lots of comments about stuff. In fact, I've actually probably learned more from doing this in the 2 years I've done it than I learned in the entire time that I was listening to rock music before that. Because there's a lot of really knowledgeable people out there who watch this show and watch other shows, other channels and stuff like that, who just know so much, a lot more than I do. But it's just good to get to know this kind of stuff from different people. Anyways, I hope you like this episode. So if you do, please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we'll be starting tonight with the monster hits. I hope this is going to be fun. That's what it's meant to be. I want it to be fun. I want to talk about some of this stuff that normally I wouldn't. I don't normally follow the commercial aspect of music too much, but it's nice to talk about the commercial songs that did do well, and maybe figure out why they did so well. So take care, and we'll see you then. Take care. Bye.